Another police station in China exploded. Chinese society is on edge. At least 7 dead in Jiangxi hailstorm disaster, $400 million in economic losses. Domino effect from earthquake? Major quake hits Taiwan followed by multiple tremors in China. Too many deceased in epidemic, a grim acceptance that people just leave. Nearly 3M Chinese commemorate Li Keqiang at Qingming festival, expressing dissatisfaction with government. China's banking meltdown, rich dad author says baby boomers will go bankrupt. How is China's supply problem? It's all covered in today's China Truths. Another police station in China exploded. The true intentions behind it uncovered. In China, the widespread issue of corrupt officials has led to the oppression of ordinary people, sparking significant public discontent. Explosions took place at government buildings in both Jiangxi and Nanjing on the same day. More recently, another explosion at the Public Security Bureau in Shenyang City, Liaoning Province, has been reported, with the true intentions behind it uncovered. On April 4th, one video was published on Platform X showing an arson and explosive assault against the Traffic Police Brigade located in the Heping district of the Shenyang City Public Security Bureau on March 28. The attacker initiated a fire before detonating homemade explosives made from black powder in the first-floor reception area. The video, widely shared online, captures a powerful explosion and the subsequent billow of thick black smoke from the building, followed by 2 additional blasts. These explosions left the reception area in ruins, covered in debris and significantly damaged. Voices in the video urgently call for the police, with one person exclaiming they had managed to flee from the Heping Traffic Police Team's building. The incident resulted in injuries to 2 police officers and 1 civilian, with the perpetrator of the bombing losing their life at the scene. The video clips did not specify when the explosion happened, but it has come to light among netizens that the event took place in 2019. It's currently in the spotlight again because the real reason behind the explosion was revealed to be the extortion of truck operators by the traffic police, driving them to a desperate act of blowing up the traffic police team. Regarding this, comments from Chinese netizens included strong statements like where there's oppression, there's resistance, and praise for the perpetrator as a hero standing up to what they called a bandit organization. Others expressed more extreme views, advocating for the destruction of all communist police stations and their operatives, highlighting a sentiment for revolution and self-determination among the people. The discussion also touched on the recent frequency of explosions and the reasons behind them. Notably, such targeted attacks on government bodies have happened sporadically in mainland China, with at least 2 instances reported this year alone. Additionally, on March 1 in Dezhou City, Shandong Province, a villager acted out of revenge against society due to unresolved grievances. After consuming pesticide, he drove into a group of students near a school, injuring more than 10 children, though the exact number of casualties remains unclear. The dissemination of this news triggered an internet blockade by the Chinese Communist Party's web authorities, sparking widespread dissatisfaction among the mainland's population. The recurring instances of public vandalism against government agencies in China signal a mounting frustration with the CCP government, suggesting that the level of dissatisfaction among the citizens has escalated significantly, turning the whole of Chinese society into a ticking time bomb, ready to detonate at any moment. At least 7 dead in Jiangxi hailstorm disaster, $400 million in economic losses. In addition to societal unrest, China has recently faced a series of natural disasters. Jiangxi province in China was recently hit by unusually severe winds and hail, with wind speeds in certain areas nearing Category 17, akin to a typhoon, leading to severe damage. According to a Southern Weekly report, the Jiangxi Provincial Flood Control and Drought Relief Headquarters stated that a disaster starting on March 31 affected around 313,000 people in 87 counties across 11 cities, including Nanchang and Zhejiang, resulting in 7 deaths by 3:30 p.m. on April 4. The event damaged 22,700 hectares of crops, completely destroying 668.9 hectares, and led to the damage or destruction of 129 households, with 311 rooms, causing an estimated economic loss of 400 million yuan, about $55.3 million US dollars. By 6 p.m. on April 4th, various areas in Nanchang City were still under a Level 4 emergency flood response. The Jiangxi Meteorological Observatory forecasts continued heavy rains in the southern region from April 4th to 7th. Public records show that unprecedented winds in areas like Nanjing and Nanchang, where wind speeds reached 10 to 12 on the scale, have significantly escalated. The extreme winds caused considerable damage, including breaking street lamps and blowing away balconies, windows, and air conditioner units from residential buildings. In some tragic instances, individuals were blown out of their windows to their deaths. On April 2nd, at 6 p.m., the Central Meteorological Observatory issued an orange warning for severe convective weather, indicating strong convective storms expected in central, eastern, and southern China from the night of April 2nd to April 3rd, with wind speeds surpassing level 12. This marked the first issuance of such a severe warning since 2013. Domino effect from earthquake? Major quake hits Taiwan followed by multiple tremors in China. Following a significant earthquake in Taiwan, subsequent earthquakes struck Japan and various regions in China, suggesting a domino effect. On April 4th, the China Earthquake Network Center reported a magnitude 3.4 earthquake in Xinjiang's Wuxi County at 11:52 a.m. and a magnitude 5.5 earthquake in Qinghai's Mangjia City at 8:39 a.m., both with a depth of 10 kilometers. These quakes, felt in areas like Dunhuang in Gansu and Ruoqiang County in Xinjiang, led to inspections that revealed cracks in homes, though no injuries or damage were reported. In Japan, a magnitude 6 earthquake occurred off Fukushima Prefecture at around 12:16 p.m. on the same day, according to NHK. With an intensity of level 4 and a depth of 40 kilometers, it affected Iwate, Miyagi, and Fukushima prefectures but posed no tsunami threat. The quake did, however, temporarily disrupt the Tohoku Shinkansen, prompting safety assessments by the East Japan Railway Company. Too many deceased in epidemic, a grim acceptance that people just leave. Meanwhile, the new coronavirus in China continues to heat up, leading to overcrowded hospitals across China. Mr. Dai from Beijing shared with Epoch Times reporters that at this moment, conversations among people often revolve around who has passed away, with many not being of advanced age, reflecting a grim acceptance that people just leave. 4 individuals from his workplace also died similarly, likely victims of the virus with no chance of recovery. When inquired about the specific virus, Mr. Dai pointedly asked if hospitals would disclose such information, indicating their silence on the matter. Mr. Chang from Changsha, Hunan Province, shared with NTD on April 3 that lately, there have been deaths around everyone, and commemorative services are no longer conducted by their organizations. Ms. Su, a citizen of Shenyang, Liaoning Province, described the dire situation of the local outbreak, with hospitals at full capacity and the common folk unable to receive proper medical treatment. Many are forced to purchase medicines from pharmacies, but with a health insurance allowance of only 80 yuan, about $11.06 per month for medications, which are quite expensive, even a box of cold medicine costs a significant amount. Meanwhile, the Chinese authorities cruelly continue to turn a blind eye to the widespread infection and death incidents among the public, choosing not to report them, while continuing to justify their deceit. Nearly 3M Chinese commemorate Li Keqiang at Qingming Festival, expressing dissatisfaction with government. On the Chinese Qingming Festival, April 4th, vast crowds, up to nearly 3 million, commemorated former CCP Premier Li Keqiang at his ancestral home. On the same day, independent commentator Kai Shinquan shared on social media, Hefei commemorates Li Keqiang this Qingming. Nearly 3 million people visited Red Star Road in Liang District, Hefei, in under 2 days to lay flowers, leaving not a scrap of litter. Hefei's taxi drivers offered free rides to Red Star Road, florists provided white roses and chrysanthemums at cost, and supermarket owners placed crates of water at the curb for the public to freely take. Many young Hefeians volunteered as guides at subway stations in their free time. This display of respect from Hefei's community to one of their own was a rare, spontaneously organized public mourning in China's history. Hours before, Mr. Kai also reflected in a detailed article on Li Keqiang's tenure as premier, describing it as tragically ineffective and marked by economic distress. Li, who carried the demeanor of a neighborly elder brother, passed away unexpectedly shortly after his tenure, highlighting a repressive political climate that leaves a pervasive sense of powerlessness among the people. Kai suggests the widespread commemoration of Li signifies mourning for a bygone era and a critique of the present political landscape. According to Mr. Kai, whether Li's apparent ineffectiveness was real or pretense, his sincere remarks resonated deeply, underscoring the essence of the country being its people, highlighting the plight of those earning less than 1,000 yuan, about $138.22 a month, and emphasizing the hardship of farmers facing illness without adequate healthcare. Before stepping down, Li Keqiang's farewell words to the State Council staff, "Humans act, heaven watches, heaven has eyes," were laden with meaning. Mr. Kai emphasized that Li's poignant legacy has captured the people's hearts, making his sudden departure a source of global empathy. The grassroots tribute to him was an organic expression of grief and voiced collective discontent with the communist leadership. On April 2, it was reported that police were stationed along Suzhou's Bian River Bridge to dissuade public mourning for Li during the Qingming festival. China's banking meltdown, Rich Dad author says baby boomers will go bankrupt. As China's economy faces further decline, the significant downturn in the real estate sector is pressuring the banking industry. Amid this financial turmoil, Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, is sounding the alarm about bankruptcy risks for the baby boomer generation, those born between 1946 and 1964. In detail, the real estate market, previously thought to be nearing a low point, is experiencing new drastic drops, notably affecting luxury properties in Beijing. For instance, Wangjing Jinmao Mansion, known for its high-end status, saw its price per square meter plummet from at least 120,000 yuan, about $16,600 to 97,000 yuan, about $13,408, and still, there are no buyers, even with substantial price negotiations underway. This decline is not limited to specific areas but is a citywide trend in Beijing, spreading from school district homes and older buildings to previously stable luxury real estate investments. Meanwhile, Shenzhen is witnessing even more dramatic reductions, with property prices falling by up to 60%, pushing the market to the brink of collapse. The downturn in housing prices is impacting the broader Chinese economy, exemplified by banks reducing salaries and asking employees to return bonuses. The South China Morning Post reported that, due to issues with the housing market and local debt, 12 national joint stock banks have cut salaries significantly, and 10 state-owned banks, including major ones like China Merchants Bank, Bank of China, and ICBC, are reclaiming bonuses. Further exacerbating the financial unrest, restrictions on withdrawals have been implemented by Ping An Bank, leading to depositor protests in Yanqing, Jiangxi province, over a ban on withdrawals that has lasted 3 months, leaving depositors unable to access their funds. Experts have previously cautioned that the CCP regime's stability could be shaken if China's banking industry is burdened by the real estate sector, leading to increased defaults or panic withdrawals. Author Robert Kiyosaki recently wrote that another significant bank in China has failed. He pointed out that this bankruptcy involves commercial rather than residential real estate, highlighting that the largest banks globally are located in China. He also noted a parallel situation in the U.S., where commercial real estate, particularly office spaces, is facing bankruptcy. Asked about the impact on the baby boomer generation, Kiyosaki explained that their retirement plans, heavily invested in real estate investment trusts or real estate mutual funds, are comprised of unreliable assets. He underscored that the collapse of these assets threatens the retirement security of the baby boomers. His advice for investors is to shift towards tangible assets like gold, silver, and Bitcoin. How is China's supply problem? Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen recently said she would raise the problem of oversupply in environmental products like solar panels from China in upcoming talks with counterparts in Beijing. China's oversupply problem is not just a problem for the world but for China. This is the opening in the article China's Supply Problem, published April 3, written by Mr. Christopher Balding, who was a professor at Fulbright University Vietnam and the HSBC Business School of Peking University Graduate School. China is a manufacturing colossus in the world economy. Despite an economy that accounts for roughly 16 to 18% of global activity, China is responsible for 32 to 35% of global manufacturing. Following the East Asian Tiger model from Japan and South Korea, China started selling low-skilled manufactured products like garments and basic assembly, working its way up the value chain. Though remaining concentrated in those areas, China produces an increasing variety of low, middle, and high-tech products for export. Typically thought of as a low-wage country churning out low-skill products like garments, Beijing policymakers have sought to increase state-linked firm exports and manufacturing in strategic sectors. While it is true that China enjoys a top-quality manufacturing base with network effects, among other factors that make the country an excellent manufacturing destination, there is increasingly another factor that drives its most rapidly growing areas of exports. The export industries in China are enjoying the most rapid growth in sectors that receive enormous state assistance, such as automobiles and rare earth minerals. Even as China's car consumption has remained effectively stagnant, its auto exports have exploded since 2020, becoming the largest single car exporter globally. China engages in a range of activities to boost its manufacturing capacity that boils down to state-directed finance through state-owned banks, whether it is automobile companies that receive more in subsidies than they receive in profit or wildly indebted steel companies with loans that never come due. Just recently, Li Automotive announced it was the first major Chinese electric vehicle firm to be profitable, but in stock filings, it declared it received a range of government subsidies. The state involvement and subsidization of strategic sectors and firms matter for multiple reasons. First, China, through its direction of state-sponsored finance, wildly overinvests in industries declared strategic by Beijing. Second, this flood of products is increasingly resulting in countries considering trade barriers against Chinese goods based upon what they consider unfair trade practices. Third, the process of subsidization is keeping unprofitable firms in business. A wealth of research demonstrates that Chinese firms, as they grow, become less innovative and increasingly dependent on government largesse, and yield lower returns. China is driving massive amounts of oversupply, and even when it sells products, it cannot sell those products profitably. This prevents a shift from an investment-driven economy toward more consumption and inhibits free market innovation by these firms looking to Beijing for direction on everything. Let us know your thoughts on today's topic by leaving a comment below. If you found this video helpful, please share it with a friend. It inspires us to continue creating more quality and reliable content. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more interesting insights from China Truths. Thanks for tuning in.